Sometimes it's the little things that make you happy. So today we will make a 5-petal flower with cording that mimics I-cord. This means you can make the flowers on any machine at all and really fast. In the companion pattern, instructions are provided to make the 5 and 6-petal flowers, plus how to work both versions in true I-cord as well. It can be downloaded by following the link in the description below. Now I'm going to make an imitation I-cord, and I just hung my weights, and I cranked my tension up to 7 on my 270. Now this would be the same thing as if this is how you would make it if you were working on an LK or a Brothers 230 where you can't do partial knitting, or just on this one because it just makes a nice 50 rows. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now, I'm going to cut my yarn. Take my darning needle, thread it up, take my stitches off, stitch the end closed, run the thread down the edge of the knitting, of the open edge, the selvage edge. I can trim that in a minute. Do the same thing on the other end. Even though this is a closed one, we're just trim off both the yarn tails. We don't need these anymore. Pull up 6 needles, and using our single eye transfer tool, single eyelet transfer tool, we're going to cross over and pick up the edge stitches. See? Every 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you want to make sure that you're at the edge when you're doing this one. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, I'm making sure I'm at the edge. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's split the last 2 in half. Just make sure you now make sure your petals are under your needles. They're hanging under the needles, and you can use the gate pegs to secure them. Bring all the needles out to hold position, although they're going to knit off on the next round. Now we're going to thread with our center color and leave about an 8-inch yarn tail, but we're going to crank our stitch size or our tension for whole numbers. We were on 7, we're cranking it down to 3. And we're going to knit across. Make sure they all knit off. That's important. And you can bring them out to hold position again to help the carriage along, because this is really tight, especially on these, you only have a couple rows. Once again, bring them out to hold. Row 3, bring them out to hold. Row 4. Bring them out to hold so that the needles or the stitches get behind the latches. We're going to cut our yarn tail, so we have about 8 inches left. We're going to thread up our darning needle. Bring these forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We just bring our needle through, pull up my stitches, and you see how that, I'm going to push these back. See how that creates a nice little bump in the middle? Now I'm going to use my yarn tail to stitch the beginning to the end. And pull that up nice and tight, and back and forth here. Now I'm going to tilt it so I think you can see it. And you'd like that. I like that little bump that it causes. So now that I have those sewn together, I can bring my yarn to the back, and I can just reinforce the rest of this. And an easy way to do it is just stitch under the loops. Just pick up those loops of the yellow, going around from one side to the other. Keep going. And pull them up tight. We can just take our ends, since we have ample ends, and tie them into a knot. And that finishes off the securing of them. And there's our cute little flower ready to be applied. The I-cord flower is ready to embellish a hat, slippers, or sweater, or simply use it in place of a pom-pom. Whatever you decide, I hope you enjoyed making this colorful project. Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos. Happy machine knitting!